Shooting it raw?
Yes. Shooting it raw. Ostap. How do I say your name?
Ostap.
Ostap.
Yes.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah. How are you?
Great.
Is it going in a single shot or you then?
We're just going to record. We're just going to record for an hour.
All right. Well,
this is amazing. Where are we? What is this?
well, this is
Who are you? This is amazing. This is you. Hi. Oh, this is perfect.
Creations and it has nice sound.
This is amazing. This is amazing. Yeah. So first of all, how would your mother say your name or your father say your name? Ostap. And your last name?
Ostap with an emphasis on the last.
Okay. So.
Yeah. So Ostap.
Ostap.
And actually, that is a traditional Ukrainian name from Cossack times.
Okay.
Which is those warriors.
Right.
Some people know about them, some people don't, but those were like great times, I would say, where when Ukrainian culture, like a big part of it was really formed, you know, and what forged us into being who we are.
Yeah.
And the whole world right now can see that.
Right. So what does Ostap mean? Does it have a meaning?
Well, really, I read about it when I was a child, out of curiosity, but I cannot recall that at all.
Podcasting remotely can be a real pain. It's quite challenging, but it doesn't have to be. Zencaster has this all-in-one web-based platform and makes the process really quick and easy. That's the way it should be, right? Just focus on the podcast. So let's talk about the quality and the challenge of recording online. So Zencaster gives crystal clear sound and really nice HD video. I know I don't use it, but it's there. Now that's not even to mention how easy it is to use. Like even for my guests that aren't even that tech savvy. There's nothing to download. They just click on the link and start recording. Zencaster is all about making your podcasting experience easy, and everything from local recording to automatic post-production in the tool. You don't have to leave your browser to get the episode done. Maybe you want to make podcasts as well. I mean, I think it's a great idea personally. Obviously, I'm running one. I think you should make one too. It's easy. Just do it. I actually use Zencaster. If it sounds great, that's because the platform works. And if it sounds like crap, that's because I've done something wrong. But Zencaster really does give me amazing quality from my guests. If you go to zencaster.com/pricing, blah, 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 and enter this promo code, look, it's already long and confusing, and I'll just make it easier by putting the link and the promo code in the episode description. If you do that, you get 30% off your first 3 months. So that's actually pretty sweet. So look in the description for the link and the promo code, and then you get 30% off to start doing your own podcast. Do it. Go for it. Zencaster.
Photography, that means, first of all, memories. And that is the way we can really, after all these years, just look and remember clearly and exactly how that was on the day in that moment. And that is beautiful, I guess. And the thing that we can capture anything we want in the highest quality these days. And we don't need to carry anything special, just like a pocket-sized little device. It's just incredible. Thanks to the science, we can do that every day and all the time, which is not a great thing sometimes. But after all, like, we still are able to capture all those moments.
Yes, love it. For the people, I'm going to describe where we are because I love going to people's worlds and homes. We are in a really intense place of Hong Kong. So it's super industrial. You never think, so I ride my motorcycle. I finally get here. I'm looking around like, where am I? Is this right? Massive building with the freight elevators and everything. Yeah. Come inside and your company makes, and so we're surrounded by costumes and they're new, right? They're new costumes.
Yeah, of course.
Are you a designer?
Well, I can't tell you that I'm a professional designer, but I do design things as I'm making them, and I do design, not like costumes, even though I'm working for a costume company, but we are following somebody's designs, and we have designers as well. I'm helping them to execute what their vision is,
right,
to bring it into life, from the paper.
Right.
When things that look like easy, when you draw them, you can draw whatever you want. And in your mind, it's like, doing something that it cannot ever possibly do in a physical world. But what we have to achieve and what we have to show is how close that can be to reality. How they can be combined. And what you see on paper, you can then see on stage, and it kind of does exactly what the designer wants.
Yeah.
Which is very challenging, but it's so amazing to do.
Well, okay, so around us, I guess this is like a storeroom, and there's probably 100 costumes in here, and walking through here, there's the odor of, I guess it's glue, right?
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is how we met. I'm looking for people connected to the Ukraine, because I thought this was something I want to learn about and share. And set up on the table, you've put the flag of Ukraine. Okay, so how do we tie this, and I'm pointing to the wall with the flag and the ribbons and the postcards, to the images? I didn't look at the images. I don't look at them. So do your images explain this stuff, or do your images kind of talk more about, like, how do you want to frame the conversation?
Well, my images, I definitely, feel in this time particularly, even like, I would say, like going far, maybe a year or two. Actually, to be precise, going back maybe 5 years ago, that's where I actually went abroad to work.
Okay.
My first time. And growing up in Ukraine in school, we used to think, like kids, whatever, you don't really appreciate, you don't really understand your culture. And we had a lot of stuff that used to be not popular and uncool to do, to say, as kids. And surprisingly, like just thinking back now, I'm seeing that the things that were uncool to do were actually Ukrainian, like more our own cultural things.
Like a root,
like speaking like pure Ukrainian, like in the books, it was uncool.
Right.
But speaking like with some Russian kind of influenced words or some mixes, that was cool.
Right.
And we never understood that somehow. We just never thought of it. And then almost the moment I left Ukraine, and after just maybe even like a few days or a month, it was Turkey, my first country, and working there, and I started to see how actually interesting it is that, well, Turkey is so different, you know, and they have their strong culture.
Yeah.
And they feel it, they're proud of being Turkish. And I'm like, well, but we have so much to show to the world as well. But I just never thought of this in this way, even though I was like happy to be Ukrainian. I can tell you that I was happy to be Ukrainian, but I cannot tell you that I was always proud to be one.
Right.
And after Turkey, it was like not that long. And then I started working in Dubai, and especially after that, I understood exactly how beautiful my country is and my culture, and how rich it is and what we have.
So one of the interesting things that I've said to clients, and that I've said to, that has followed me around, is sometimes you have to, in order to look back, you have to move beyond or forward, right? So in order to appreciate the qualities and the invisible things that are really unique, you have to leave it to look back and say, oh, wait a second. That's because if you're there, it's just there every day. It's like right now, you work at this insane part of Hong Kong, totally insane, which to you is like normal, because over time it turns normal. But to me, is bonkers crazy. What floor are we on? 17th? 17th floor, and it's just nuts, man. It's nuts. I love it. Okay, we're gonna cover all of this stuff. You want to jump into the photo? Okay, so I don't know what I'm gonna look at. Okay, so let me just escape, and then is this the first one?
Yeah.
What? Okay, I have to describe what I'm looking at right now. So in front of me is a guy. You must be like 2.7 meters tall or something. Like you're enormous.
Well, kind of 3.5 more
meters.
It's a bit hard in the country.
Yeah, I know. Especially
where
here.
everyone is half of your length.
Yeah, yeah.
But
No, you're like
we all have our own challenges.
How tall are you? About 2 meters?
Almost actually 194.
Yeah, you're big. You're big.
Yeah.
You have this perfect scar in your forehead.
Yeah.
How did you get that?
I can tell you the secret how to do it, but
Okay.
let's pretend I was in a big fight. Like,
sure. Me, it was a surfboard that cut me in the face. What about you? Yeah.
Me was a clippers that cut me in my bathroom.
Oh, you did that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I love it. I love it.
It's just an accent because you see, I have this huge earrings, and I was also thinking on some point to have a piercing in my eyebrow, but also I was like, not sold for that enough. And I was like, well, I can do this as a nice compromise,
right,
or something. I decided just to do it, and it's kind of cool. And
yeah,
it
is.
Somehow always noticing.
Yeah, of course. It's funny. It's great. One of the things that's obvious is look at where you work, so you understand style. Like you are within the world of style. So you have definitely a presence and a style. I love it. And let's get to your image because it's just, I'm almost ignoring it. So was this photographed in Hong Kong? Because that looks almost like Hong Kong rock.
It is exactly, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So it looks like Lantau.
It is Lantau. How do you know?
I used to live on Lantau, and that looks like the reservoir.
I'm dreaming to live on Lantau.
I loved it. So the image is fan-freaking-tastic. Okay, it's a photo of the rocks are kind of faded out, so it's not extremely high contrast. It's on a very kind of overcast day, so you're not even sure where the horizon is. It's like faded green, the background. You can sort of, if you know the area, it's kind of like the reservoir, and that's why I was able to pick it out. But what makes the image is this stunning, levitating human you wearing a baseball cap and a goatee, so a bit of facial hair, this nice gray shirt, this buttoned up, jeans that are, let's say dark, but kind of faded at the knees. You have nice shoes. I'm going to hazard that's a photoshopped image. It's not like you're levitating because you're at least 2 feet over the. So what explain this photo and why? Why?
Yes. Okay. First of all, I can tell you that I was limited to send, the amount of pictures. Kind of I was trying to keep short, but to describe the all different sides of me and to show that in a few images.
Super creative.
And I've tried, and that is the first one, and it's a very good start.
Yeah.
So it's very easy. So you just open the camera app. Not the camera app, actually. You need a professional camera just because of the speed that it can shoot with.
Yeah.
And then you go on a cliff on the edge and you jump and take a sport mode photo and then pick the good one. And then you see this levitation. So I was faking because I couldn't levitate, but I have to jump.
It's an in-app feature that'll help you do that?
No, you just jump on the edge of a cliff.
Is that real? No, are you really just jumping up in the air and then the photograph and it snaps?
Of course. Of course.
Dude, it's wicked. It's great. I love it.
But as you said, Joseph is one of my best friends, and he was capturing it.
Awesome.
I was actually there with my childhood best friend, and Joseph, my other best friend, and we're all on this huge hike from Big Buddha to Tayo, to Tayo.
Yep.
And this is the cliff that is on the left side of the road as you walk down, about 1 kilometer, maybe 2 from the Big Buddha.
What's disarming is it's that your expression is so neutral. And you must have done a pretty good jump. So, you have at least 1 or 1.5 feet, or let's say about 50, 40 centimeters between your feet and the ground. So it's a way to start. Well done. I love it.
Thanks.
So why? Why start with this one?
Well, that is probably, as you just said, if I go back from the future, one day, I'm looking back at it and then I can fully understand what it is and why it was. I would probably be thinking, why the hell did I do that? Because I do have pictures like this from when I was a teenager, and I'm doubting my sanity. But this one, actually, if you think about it from the side, when you're jumping just on the street, right? How dangerous is that when you just don't think about anything and you just jump on just concrete?
Right.
Like, how dangerous is that? Like, is there potential danger that
Like
you're
a
gonna
risk,
just
yeah.
fall off a gator or something.
Yeah.
No, because it's just safe and you are confident.
Right.
And that is the kind of emotion that I have here when I do these things.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not doing that often, but when I do, to take this kind of picture, because I've pictured that exact image in my head first, and I wanted to get this kind of calm emotion going on. And the only thing that you can see that something's going on is my shirt.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's like, if I can like straighten it down somehow in the air.
No. Here's the thing, is that the image itself, when you look at it, everything is static. Everything's frozen, right? So the rocks, the cliff rocks, they're just frozen. They're not moving. The hills with the green, it's frozen. It's not moving. Usually humans are moving, but then looking at you, everything's so still, yet the shirt is moving. So it's actually very disruptive. It's very, you're an anarchist. Yeah. No, I'm just joking. I love it. Did I just give you a compliment?
Definitely. It depends. It depends from which side to look at it. But actually you're getting it exactly right, because you're looking at, and it's like a total, like, Photoshop. But then you're like, oh wait, but what's wrong with the shirt?
Exactly.
Why does it have to be like this, you know?
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, it's not that difficult to do, but it is, for some reason, scary for most people.
And it does, what it communicates to me, I think when you've done a lot around art and expression, and so for example, you get a design where the person says, okay, this is what I've conceived of, and then you look at that, and then you have to translate that into what it could look like in the real world, an actual textile, actual fabric and whatever. And then you realize that, wait a second, there's a lot of stuff going on behind, off whatever the sketch. In a similar way, somebody who's looked at images and has thought a lot about this stuff, when I look at that, there's a lot to decode. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of like signifiers in terms of, it says a lot about who you are in terms of the decisions, and the fact that you gave it this one to me as the first one. It's a very, I don't know. Sometimes I don't know what to say.
It has to be catchy.
Well,
I had no choice.
So you do have a sense of drama. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably.
So, should we move on to the next image? You'll see an hour goes by like that. It's amazing.
Yeah, definitely.
Next photo?
Yeah, I see now why you were asking, like, how it relates. Like, it's all related.
Okay.
You know? It's all related. Like, my spirit and who I am and how I feel myself these days, especially, and in the past, but specifically now, is like, you know, you can see that in the images, but it also correlates with who Ukrainians are.
And you can see who you are. Yeah.
Who, like, what nation am I representing?
Yeah.
Like, being a part of.
Well, what the listener doesn't see is, as you're saying that, your eyes were going up to, so we're sitting in a room that's mostly dark, except for 3 spotlights overhead. So it's overhead lighting. And on the wall is a Ukrainian flag, and the boldness of the blue and the yellow really kind of define the room, right? Like you've obviously crafted the room.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did just
30
minutes ago.
Yeah, nice. Well, look, it's something that can take 5 seconds.
Yeah.
When it says a decision is informed by your whole life, right? So, for example, trimming that little bit of your eyebrow, it's a great anchor. You're very smart. I'm going to keep my eye on you. You know, it is very good. I don't know what accent that is. Next photo.
Yes.
Okay, so another thing I have to say is that on your face, do you usually have a mustache, or you have a very kind of playful mustache goatee thing? So how long is this? Were you born with this facial hair, or were you?
Well, that was the first thing that came out.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, but you have this it used to be much longer.
You have this beautiful handlebar mustache. You have these really arresting eyes. You're standing on, let's see, the faces are, this looks like it's in Hong Kong with all these kids and stuff in costume.
You know what's cool?
Okay.
Is that what you see behind me on this image is actually what you see right now behind me here.
Oh, it's all these costumes.
Yeah, this set of costumes for this show, which is in Beijing right now.
What's the show? It's like
it's called The Untrainable Dragon.
Yes, exactly. So dragons, it's kids, and it's mostly kids?
No,
they're
it's
just
all
small?
the cast.
They're just short. Okay.
Yeah. Well, they're meant to be looking very young, and they have makeup because the whole story is built on the How to Train Your Dragon movie.
Yeah.
And everyone knows it, and that's how they look. And all of those, they are all like teens.
Nice. So it's all in
the animation.
Like, okay, so you're holding up the camera. You've got a nice dark sort of beret. You've got the really stylish kind of shirt and jacket and vest. You've got the red ribbon, I guess, holding the pass, right? Behind you in very staged lighting, there's probably the crew or cast of about 80 or 100 people.
Yeah.
And there's like the props of like these amazing dragons, and behind you can see the lights, and it's really beautiful light of the alcoves with the scene. Okay. So why?
That is actually to show then what I am doing.
Okay.
Because I am a part of it, and me and my team, our team, has created this show and all these costumes for this show, which is a brand new show.
Right.
And we've gotten into so many challenges with it, and so many an hour sleep night.
Oh, okay.
That was crazy. That was crazy, but it was very unique at the same time, because we were pushing our own limits and the limits of actually how precise that could, that could be created.
Right. Do you normally go to the cities to set up the costumes? Is that like a normal thing?
Yeah. The company, the costume production shops, they usually, because they're the ones that created it, right? And they know the techniques, how to handle it, how to dress, undress, wash it, take care of it, maintain, fix the stuff.
How long was this? So this was before COVID.
This was in the very, very middle of COVID.
Okay,
and
so
in China.
Yeah, so in China, of course, things were a lot more open.
In Beijing, particularly in Beijing, they are so strict to get into the city. But once you're in, you can almost not wear a mask.
Okay, yeah.
At the time.
Yeah.
So that is why none of us really has a mask.
Right. Okay, so I've been to Beijing a couple of times. The one thing about these cities is the scale. Here comes a young man from Ukraine, imported into Beijing. I'm sure everybody's looking at you like, who is this like towering presence, whatever, so how does your feeling of a stranger in a strange land, or how do you kind of come to terms, because you're still quite young, so what were the impressions of going into, I think with China, everything's humongous. And so in terms of scale, in terms of impact, go back to that day. So can you remember what some of the feelings, some of the thoughts that you had?
Oh yeah, definitely. Because, it was partially a feeling of not even going into other country. It was like some sort of outer place, just some place. I can't tell like a planet, maybe partially, yes, because they have a lot of electrical vehicles, which is very, very cool. And even like public transport and all of this stuff, I was impressed actually. Maybe that's Beijing, maybe it's all over China, I'm not sure. But yeah, the scale is crazy. The style is also kind of crazy because it's sometimes odd. You know, how it's all mixed up and how they've tried to recreate all these kind of cities in these districts, which look very empty. But then you have this traditional Chinese architecture and it's all mixed up. So it's a bit like throwing you somewhere that you like, what is going on here, But yeah, it's like very stretched out. They have like enough land.
Yeah.
Like I was expecting, this city with like 11 million people to be like so crowded, because I'm coming from Hong Kong.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not at all.
At all. Yeah.
It was COVID times. It was like all this kind of stuff, but it wasn't like limiting people from going out or anything like this. So I was expecting there to be like huge crowds and like very busy, but it wasn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give a rough estimate that on your phone, on your computer, in your possession, you have 5,000 photos.
Well, I had 7, and I've just recently cleared it, and I have 5 now. 5. So how do you know?
5 what?
1,000.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
right.
Like 1,000 or something. Videos.
On average. Okay, yeah. I say to you, pick 4 photos. Okay. The first one, boom. The second one, what it does to me, it tells me very loud and clear your connection and love to drama to performance to theater to design. Now, how does that tie back to, in terms of your growing up, what do performance, theater, design, all this stuff, where did that come from?
I guess, I've been artistic my whole life, but I can't tell you that I'm like the best designer in the world or anything like this, because I can also think critically and I can see who is clearly better than me and stuff like this. And my friend that I told you about, Joseph Koda, he is like probably the most creative person I've met in my life. But going back again in time, we're going back in time all the time.
Sure.
But I can tell you that I used to be a musician, and I am a professional musician. You can see my tattoo of trumpet, which is my instrument.
Oh, beautiful. Okay. Very nice trumpet tattoo, yeah.
Yeah. So I used to play, but also then thinking even further back in time that I was like trying to fix my clothes, like change it to the way that I want them to be,
as an
particularly
expression.
My jeans, and also my mom was a seamstress, so we used to have a sewing machine, which was like a super cool, not cool, old Soviet Union kind of your feet powered machine, like Zinger, but not Zinger, like a ripoff. Which I was like struggling with, but also had a lot of fun, and I still was able to manage to use it.
Amazing.
To like alter my clothes or solder something or like find these little motors from toys or things and like find battery blocks and try to like solder, where's the plus, where's the minus, like positive, negative, how to connect and stuff like this. No internet. You have to consider. So I was like figuring it out, melting something, like stuff like this, when positive to positive. They're not friends.
Of course. Okay.
And stuff like this. So it's like always in the way creating something, I didn't realize, like, I did not consider myself as being super creative or anything like that, but I always was trying to alter something, to create something, to minimize something, to be like, oh, it's not precise, oh, it's not the way I'd like it to be. So I would like chip off or cut off some parts I didn't like that would be like ruining the image for me. And then suddenly it's just a piece of crap after all, and I throw it away because it's just unusable.
I understand that for sure. So it's a really strange kind of...
It's bonkers.
No, but it's a strange excuse for us to meet and talk, right? So the reason why we meet and talk is precisely why I'm like, okay, the kind of person I am is if there is something scary or if there's something challenging or if there's, I go towards, I go into, right? Some people go away, it's like the avoidance, right? So in my mind, because I was so affected and distressed and shocked by what's happening, and I have Ukrainian friends, and I've exchanged with them, and it's like the one word that is consistent is what a nightmare, like it's just a fucking nightmare. But then my thing is, well, I'm going to go towards, or I'm going to meet, I'm going to exchange with people who are deeply rooted in that very real, scary... So, what city did you grow up in?
I was growing up in Lutsk, which is west part of Ukraine. It's very, very close to Belarus and Poland.
Right.
So it's like, northwest.
Right. I've seen that city in the news.
Really? Yeah, well...
Off and on. I mean, it's not a flashpoint, but I have seen it.
Yeah, we did have... So that's just because we had like a couple of times, a couple rockets striking like airport, like a military air base. It was happening. But, I can tell you, even with this, I'm very lucky just because most of my family lives on the west of Ukraine. And it's just something that I don't really need to be worried about all the time. That makes my mind kind of a bit more untied to be worrying about Ukraine as a whole and all the political and the war that's happening, rather than being cautious about my family in the first place and then, was the rest. So, I can tell you I'm lucky. And also I've seen my side of Ukraine kind of... It's not very good when people are separating like east of Ukraine and west of Ukraine. It's all the same country. But just because of historical things happening.
Sure.
It happened that, the West is always kind of was going towards the West, towards the democratic world and European Union. And the East was kind of gravitating towards Russia.
Right.
Because it was heavily influenced by Russia.
Yeah.
And it sounds very strange, but what is beautiful and great about this war is that there is no more West and East. Right. Each and every Ukrainian is the same Ukrainian.
Yeah.
No matter where.
Right.
And this is something that after this is over and after a victory, this is what we're going to carry on. Got it.
Okay. Now, if you don't want something to be in, if you accidentally say something like, that bastard Putin, it's fine.
No, he can fuck
exactly.
I don't give a shit,
No, exactly. Okay. I think we're speaking the same freaking language. You want to go to the next photo?
Because you see here, I have these cards from Ukrainian Society of Hong Kong, and we have an official message, and obviously, we are living here, and we are considering what's going on and how we have to represent things. But we're talking here about myself and personally about what I feel. And I seriously, I can tell you whatever I feel up to the very far extent.
Yeah, it's this, it's like, in a way, it's like, it's living, well, sort of like when you go into Beijing, when you go into China, your brain kind of does, okay, I'm going into China. Now there's a new set of rules. There's a new code. There's a new, filter, a new perception, whatever you want to call it. Okay, these are just the house rules have changed. Fine. You come into Hong Kong, the house rules have changed. Again, fine. You go to the US, different house rules, fine. But I think it's kind of surprising how much and very quickly the conversation all of a sudden totally changed. Suddenly the perception really kind of shifted. Like for you, it's been being connected to Ukraine, it's been many more years because you actually have more of a connection. But certainly I'd say the past, 3 months has had a certain, I don't know if you felt a certain shift in temperature compared to what was before. I don't know.
Yeah, well, definitely. It's weird, but now every human being with the brain has to realize, and also with eyes and ears, has to realize what is going on. And we have to call things by their name.
Yes.
And now you can't say, actually Hitler was a good guy, he was doing something.
Right.
It wasn't all this black and white and all this kind of stuff. Nobody says that because it's not true.
Exactly.
He was killing people, he was a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And now we have a new one. Yeah. Which is in very many ways even worse. Yeah. And I'm gonna call him a piece of shit. Yeah. And Huilo, actually, that's his real name. Okay. Putin Huilo is a very famous phrase that many people have to know what that means in these days. Okay, right. Okay. Yeah.
Dude, listen, I really appreciate your energy and your warmth, and I want to see the next photo. Is that okay?
Of course.
Dude, I love it. I love it. Thank you so much.
I feel kind of energetic and chilled at the same time. Yes. I'm very free. I'm a very open person, and I don't think that anything can hurt me. Right. That's what I can say.
How old are you?
Tell me.
I'd say 26.
27. Yeah,
27. Yeah. There's a scientific understanding of this. There's a medical understanding of this, right? There's in a book by Robert Sapolsky. He's a neuroscientist, and he says our brains aren't fully baked until we're 27.
All right.
I feel
I'm so baked now.
No. You are great. No, but just this idea that our brains aren't fully developed until we're 27. And when I think of myself as who I am at my most me, 27. So nice to meet you, man.
Yeah. You see, what happens now is that's really what it's called politicizing or something, really shaking everyone up. Yeah. Is actually happened to be in my age of when I would be developed anyway. Yeah. So that's what we have, but I feel like I understood those things earlier, even though it's difficult. But if we're gonna talk about politics, kind of more specific about Ukraine and how, actually going back to the topic, how I was feeling about it all the time. So I can tell you that since maybe 2019, maybe in Dubai actually, at the end of Dubai, which is when I came here afterwards. It was 2019. And I started saying that I'm a proud Ukrainian.
Right.
Like, I really liked how that sounds. And I am proud.
I feel it.
Yeah. But then obviously, since then, like, I was just being even more and more proud. Yeah, we have like a bunch of problems in Ukraine. We had it all the time.
Like everywhere.
But after all, we still can pick our own government. We can pick our president, and that's like real election, which is not every country has these days. And then those are the things we can overcome. But the bigger thing that we fight for is there. And we have that core. And we have what to fight for. So now now it suddenly make absolute sense in all the meanings that I'm a proud Ukrainian, to be saying that these days.
I feel it. I see it on your face. And while we're saying this, the image I flipped it onto the screen. So this is also you? You wear glasses? Or those are just riding glasses?
The riding ones.
Okay. So it's a photo of you on a nice tricked out bike. It's like a dual suspension mountain bike. Again, on Lantau, it seems. Near Puyo.
No, this is Chimawan.
Chimawan. Okay, Chimawan. Sure. Okay. And then you're standing with your arms open wide, outstretched, black gloves, black helmet, black shirt, with I think that's Fox Racing or something.
Yeah.
You're not wearing you're wearing running shoes. You're not wearing cycling cleats or whatever. That's fine. Listen, whatever. No judgment.
It works somehow. I need to destroy them before I get the new ones.
Is this your bike?
Yeah, it is my bike.
It's bike.
It's my recent / all the time passion.
Nice.
Which I was suspecting of having, but I just never got to buy a real up-to-date bike. I did have bikes my whole life. I used to ride street BMX in my hometown.
Okay.
No protection, no anything. It was just...
you would ride a bicycle without a condom?
Yeah, sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just
I didn't have money for them.
Oh, okay, right, got it.
So I got all those diseases from
Sorry, I'm an idiot. Remember? You have to remember I'm an idiot. See, you're smiling. It's good.
Everyone is. Yeah. The real ones are the ones who don't say they are.
Okay, exactly. There you go. Thank you for giving me that out. Okay, yeah. What's great in the photo is high above is one of the big black kites. It's very far away, very, very high. It's a blue sky. The elevation at that point, I think it's about 300 meters, 350 meters. You see the beach behind. I know it's a beautiful, I used to live on Lantau, so it's a beautiful trail.
Yeah, it's an
really
awesome trail.
So beautiful. Now, again, I'm gonna say, how does this inform what you want to say right now?
Well, this one, it's just another side of me.
Yeah.
As I said, because I'm doing things here, creating costumes and being creative here. But at the same time, versatility of is my bike. My bike or still my musical instrument that I play sometime. But since recently, it's just incredible. And Hong Kong is a great place for mountain biking.
Yeah. And
I finally decided after these years that I'm going to invest in it because it's an expensive piece of gear. And I can tell you absolutely worth every dollar.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
because of what it gives you.
Yes. So from the cycling I've done a lot of cycling as well. Mountain biking, road, whatever. There's the repetition of cycling. It's like some people like to go jogging, some people like to go rowing. The same thing, cycling. It's just the repetitive, long distance. If you do it for more than 2 hours, it clears out your brain, right?
Exactly. It's a meditation.
It's pure,
Yes.
Utterly, completely.
Yes.
And you're so focused on the trail because if you don't,
like as opposed to the road cycling, you're just like following often nice, straight, smooth road and just somewhere into the horizon.
Right.
But then in the mountain biking, and especially on this trail, Chimawan is so technical.
Yeah.
Going up, super technical. Going down, even more technical.
Right.
And you have to be
focused
only on this. You know, you have to like see every rock and you have to know where you're going.
So you know I'm Canadian, right? Did you know? Yeah, I'm Canadian. Yeah. That is my accent is very Canadian. So I'm Canadian, and when people think of Canada, who haven't been, they typically picture British Columbia. Big mountains, ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Definitely. That's what I do.
British Columbia is like big, huge trees, big, huge mountains, amazing trails, amazing mountain biking.
I know.
And so when you're talking about Chimawan, super technical, if you're really focused, in BC, they smoke a joint and then they do it. You know, like,
wow.
So it's at night. We'd go at night sometimes. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's full on.
All right. It's on my list now.
So actually what's really great about night cycling is that if you think about it, it's pitch black on the trail.
Cycling or mountain
biking? Mountain biking.
Wow.
Pitch black, but you've got your bike, your light, right? So you only see where the light goes. Mm-hmm. And so everything else is black. So, and the thing is, when you don't know the trail, imagine doing Chimawan in the dark at night with only the light. It really is a neat experience.
Absolutely.
You should do it. Oh, you do it. You have done
I do?
Yeah, great.
I do it. I do it here, except for every trail, even the one you have ridden already in the daytime, then it's different. You can experience new stuff on the same thing in the nighttime. Yep. Or in the wet. Right. Because it's also different here. And when it's raining here, it's crazy.
Yeah, you're right.
So yeah, we do that, except for you can't find really a pitch black spots.
Sure.
I mean, spots, but not like full trail or not like wild forest somewhere that you like by yourself. Sure. But you can definitely catch a really beautiful night sky sometimes, or like full moon, which we had going over a water reservoir.
Ah, nice.
And then you see this moon and the reflection in the water, and you're going through a bamboo forest.
Oh, so
it's
nice.
like, wow.
So perfect. Yeah. So perfect.
And you're like,
again, if they could see your face, your eyes are so open. I love it.
Mountain biking is awesome.
It's a clear blue sky behind you. There's water again. There are cliffs and rock again. It's a portrait, a close-crop portrait of you sternly looking off camera to the right. You're wearing a black and red checkered shirt with a black t-shirt underneath. You've got much more of a beard going right now. And you've got these enormous headphones strapped to your head. And by enormous, I mean probably half the size of your head.
Yeah.
Okay, so pourquoi?
Why this photo? Because it's another passion of mine.
Okay, music.
Absolutely, music, man. I used to be playing, right? But I've never stopped listening to music, and music is one of the biggest factors that changed me or forged me into again who I am now. Okay. Because I actually find, it's like cycling or biking. You also find that people that think in the same way. But with music, it's even more complex. And it's more of a shower of what human intelligence can be. I think because, and many people are agreeing on this with me, because like dumb crap, everyone can listen. Like, all the people can listen to the dumb crap where you don't have to think like how it's been created. It's just some kind of background noise that is just loud and actually it's like a white noise sometimes. But it makes the people that created it money. And that's why it's being created. But then going a bit back in day when like classical rock was, booming, and you have giants like Pink Floyd or The Purple and stuff like this. And then you listen to their music and you just closing your eyes and then you see how they created. Right. And it's never, we do this chorus, like 1, 2, 3, we have to do this and that, and then we make more money. Yeah. It's never about this. It's more about, let's try this, let's try that. It doesn't work. Fuck, let's like bring these thoughts, like how we can do it and all this kind of stuff. Or like being high and creating something because you see this other dimension suddenly. Sure. And that is what you feel, like one of my most favorite songs of all times is, Pink Floyd, which actually Pink Floyd as a whole band took me a year to get used to. Yeah. But I was like, everyone's bragging about it, blah, blah, blah. All the old dudes, they like Pink Floyd.
I find it really interesting that you named Pink Floyd and they just decided to come together.
Exactly. Okay. And this is just showing that those are the people that really understand, and that standing with the humanity to defend human rights and to defend what's good.
So just to finish the thought for the listener, in case they don't know, Pink Floyd, has been essentially not making music for a long time. And just now, because of what's happening because of the war in Ukraine, decide to come together? Is it to put in a new album or a new song?
It's just a single. And it's like super rare. And it was only 4 times that they put some like other singer in the band.
Okay.
And 2 of those times, I believe, he was a dog.
Oh,
yeah.
Really?
So this is insanely like valuable as a piece of art from them, from like those giants, as I said. And their song that I was talking about, my favorite one is called "Shine On You Crazy Diamond." And it's a 9-part song, which is like starting and finishing the album, and it's like one classical music masterpiece. Like I mean classical music,
so
because the construction of it.
You've studied music.
Yes, I do.
Okay, because you talk in ways that suggest that you've spent. Why the trumpet, and when did you start?
I used to listen to music way earlier, and like different thing. When I was 8 and 9 years old, I used to listen only Rammstein for a year. Like from 8 to 9, I was only listening to this one band on a cassette, which my uncle gave me. Yeah, and now I'm going back and I'm like, wow, that was crazy. But then before, when I was like a kid, really, in the 1st grade, I was listening to whatever pop crap was on the TV. Sure. And I was like so crazy about it, so cool, you know, makes you want to dance. And for that kind of stuff, that music is perfect. Definitely. But it's interesting when you learning how to think and then you listen to something that like triggers your thinking more. You know, this is beautiful. And then it's a funny story because I went to study trumpet. Trumpet was a random choice. Yep. And I've met my best friend there on the same day. Nice. Because he came after this advertising. He came on the same day to the same teacher. Okay. And we came, and our biggest motivation was free trips every summer to a camp. Okay. In the lake. Nice. That was our motivation. Yeah. And after all, you know, I don't think that particularly because I'm a musician, I've been studying music, I am listening and I'm like discovering these new dimensions to music for myself. I think that's because it's in line with me. Exactly. That's all it is. You know? Exactly. Well, it's like why cycling more than hiking? Yeah. You know, or, you know, it's like, okay, so cycling hits these levers, these triggers, whatever in your head that really satisfy something. So here's a question for you. What color do you, when you're in the zone of playing the trumpet, is there a color that you would associate it with? What a weird question, but interesting though. I would think it's something about reddish. Okay. Know, something warm. Okay. Yeah, that's for sure. Okay. You know, because that's what it makes you feel. Okay. Cool. Okay. And when you just play for yourself, when you have to do an exam and you stress like crap, you know, it may be a random amount of different colors. Sure. But yeah, I think red is a good color. Overall, like it's probably one of my favorite colors. Okay. Now, when you're working textile and you're in the zone, what is it about? I mean, this is where you put your hours, you know. So for example, this is how you make your living. Yeah. So when it's really going well, when it's just all clicking and you're in the zone, you are doing what you love to do, and it's really just fantastic. See, when I think about it, I just think about like it's in your hands. Like it's a really sensual expression or a sensual experience. But I don't want to put that in your head. Like why, when you're in the zone of in the work, what is the satisfying element that you really feel? I love, probably most of all, I love that you take a sheet of material or anything that basically has no shape almost. Mm-hmm. And you then, out of your hands, you can present a ready piece that somebody can wear on them. And it's actually also showing what's being designed, right, you know, on the paper. Yeah. And that is beautiful, you know, seeing your work and like working for that in the future, seeing your work and knowing that you did it. Yeah. It's like the same, which we haven't done yet, but it's not the end of the day. As people seeing themselves in titles after the movie. Yeah. You know. Oh, right. A movie is like more kind of scaled up, sometimes version of what we see. And after like the show or anything, like you can't see the titles, and it's not like it's being broadcasted to the whole planet. Yeah. Where the movie movies are. So then everyone sees the movies, and whoever's in the movie, the stars, that's why they're so popular, because everyone sees them. It's like very pop kind of.
Yeah.
But it's at the same time, some movies are also masterpieces. And it's like it's just another form of art.
For sure.
And you're working for it, because art is what brings people together.
Yeah.
It's not something that unites, or even culture, because culture and art is the same basically thing. So when you think of this, it's something that, you have one culture, you have different nations have different cultures, but it's never something that makes them fight each other.
Okay.
It's something that they can be, with their diversity, they can be united and work together to something bigger for both, or like for all of them.
Right.
In the future.
Okay. So, then that begs the question, we're in a very kind of aesthetic space. You present these, I'll call them artifacts, because you've created these artifacts, right? Like these tangible things to communicate something. And as we're speaking, behind you is this little baby easel with 2 cards that are beautifully designed. And so why don't we spend the next few minutes talking about why I reached out to you from seeing that? Like, what is that?
Well, these are from our community in Hong Kong, from our Ukrainian society. And it's just like informative cards, which we used to give out to people during our like meetings and kind of protests in the Central just a few weeks back. And these are the ones that we would like give them to show, so they don't have to ask us, and they can know immediately just by, discovering this for themselves, what we're standing for and how to support and help. Because, people in Hong Kong often understand what's going on, and they really feel on the same page with us, because they've just recently been through the very similar stuff.
Sure.
It's like the scale is obviously like
totally different. But
absolutely
on the other
different,
hand,
on the other hand, they know, and where for them the story, who knows, but for now might be over. For us begins. Right. Kind of in terms of fight, in terms of survival.
I am holding in my hand one of the cards. So they're basically 2 postcards. The aesthetic contrast of the blue and yellow are so burned into people's awareness.
Yes.
And
I was just going to say the same thing.
Yeah.
That is why everything has these colors. Yeah. Everything has to be associated with what's going on right now.
So, like when I flip over the card, so on the front it says, "Thank you for your support." And it's got the dove, it's got a heart, it's got a hand. Very peaceful imagery. And then on the back, it's got these QR codes with HKUN Refugee Agency, Come Back Alive, UA Help Monobank. Then there's Unite with Ukraine, United Help Ukraine.
Yeah. Okay. Some of the biggest organizations, and especially Come Back Alive, is like one of the absolute like leaders in terms of help for Ukraine, and they're actually located in Ukraine, and they funded by ex-military. Well, maybe not ex, but actually he was in the war since 2014, and then he came back and he's seen all the troubles we had and soldiers had in terms of supplies and what they need there to fight, And he just started raising funds, and now it's like one of the most reliable organizations.
Yeah, so I love juxtaposing things and seeing what comes up, because our brains, when you have a little short circuit, it doesn't quite make sense. So just like, okay, so how do I connect these things? So in this case, we're seated in this room. We're surrounded by, I guess, kind of like dragon, like How to Train Your Dragon style costumes. The bold lighting. There's the blue and yellow flag. On my laptop, there's that photo of you just kind of like staring sternly. And the way it's positioned now is you understand? Like what's happening in my mind is you're sitting talking to me, but on my left, looking at you is you looking through the kind of sternly with these massive headphones on your head going, okay, what kind of shit are you talking now, brother? Okay. So here comes the question.
All right.
Out of this mess and soup, and we'll see where we end up. Okay. You're in Hong Kong. The images you've sent are all anchored in your time outside of Ukraine.
Yeah.
Aesthetics, music, biking, this idea of levitating, not being attached to the ground. And yet now probably over the past 3 months, the urgency of being connected to the Ukrainian Society of Hong Kong has gone way, way up. And so why don't you turn that into a kind of, like you explain that story, the connection of all those things into some kind of narrative. You understand? Like, because in your brain, you did these connections, and why don't you try to give voice to what maybe that story was going to be?
Yeah. All right. Well, that's simple to do for me because, no matter what is on that particular photo, obviously if I could have, I would have picked many more, and particularly about what's going on right now. But this is what it leads me to is anyway, my life story is up until today has been going towards learning, absorbing everything that is around me, all the different cultures, different people's minds, and different countries' systems, which, I've had already behind my shoulders a few, and comparing them and seeing, just as you said at the beginning, because that is the truth, that you cannot sometimes understand the moment you are in fully until years have passed.
Okay.
And then you see clearly what you've been going through and how actually beautiful that was.
Right.
Almost, I can say almost whatever that was.
Right.
Because that is why sometimes people that they used to be like children in very difficult times.
Yeah.
Sometimes they still can put some positive into those times.
Yeah.
Just because it happened sometime and your brain filters it through this nostalgic filter.
Okay.
And all this kind of stuff. And also because you're getting wiser.
Yeah.
And you can look back and actually appreciate that moment.
Yeah.
No matter how hard it was. So this is what I'm going through, and I'm living, and I'm looking at these steps of every, let's say, country I was living in as all these little steps that are leading me into this future.
Right.
But actually, to be honest, I'm seeing myself, after all, back in Ukraine, teaching others the experiences that I had and bringing this knowledge that I've been accumulating for these years or decades, who knows, and bringing them into the young generation so they have this spark of motivation and this engine is running and this urge to then go out themselves into the world and pick up something for themselves. And this is what I really wish for people. And it's just uniting. It's something that people have inspiration to go and see and not make somebody like them.
Yeah.
And not become somebody and just dissolve into others.
Yeah.
But to learn the differences, to learn all the best and bring this knowledge and love to their own people or their family or no matter what. And just like spread the positive future for everyone.
Dude, this is way too positive. No, I'm just joking. That's the whole point of the podcast.
Yeah.
I love it. Ostap, I thank you so much. I mean, it's been an hour. It's crazy, huh? It's
crazy. And I just started.
I know, but that's just it. Like, it's not crazy. It's fantastic. But, I have to say, like, a huge thank you. And is there something, do you think, that you've come to realize that is super motivating or that communicates well when you talk to other people? Because, you're in a place where people come from all over the world. So when they look at you and say, okay, you're tall, your accent's different, but what's your story? How do you communicate? Or if you were to share with somebody, what is it about where you've come from that is kind of unique? How would you put that? How do you express that to somebody?
To get very close in terms of the way of explanation. So I'm coming from Ukraine, right? It's some country. Many people used to think that it's some sort of appendix of Russia. For some reason, Poland is not, or like Slovakia, or all these countries, or Baltic countries are not. But Ukraine is, for some reason. This huge country, which is like geographical center of Europe, is for some reason like this extension of Russia. So what I think is now it has to be this gold mine that you just put your shovel and you have something like hard underneath. And you're like, well, what it is, maybe it's some rock. And then you're starting digging And then you see like this gold or artifact or whatever
Right,
it is
right.
that is valuable, and you're discovering for yourself this whole story behind
Right.
it. So you say it's like a fossil of a dinosaur that you never knew existed. And then
Right.
you start discovering, and you realize that this is how it was. This is the history in front of you. So this is what one of my missions would be in life. So then people that I meet can take this knowledge from me, and they can know that I'm coming from this kind of country that is actually has its own culture.
Sure.
With like Slavic nations.
Yeah.
And we have super ancient history,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and many things to share with the world. And there is nothing negative coming from us. We don't need anybody else's land or anything. We just want to be friendly and living in peace with others and working together for the future. Because, you know, if you think of this globally, which is one of the most important things, is how the hell in 21st century we're still wasting our time for wars and for stealing somebody's pieces of land instead of building rockets and flying to the moon, flying to Mars, you know, or beyond that.
Sure.
This is surprising.
Ostap, what a conversation, man. Thank you so much. Yes, I love it.
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
I love it too.
Shooting it raw?
Yes. Shooting